Hello there, wrestling fans! Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther, the third. And man, oh man, what an awesome week we've had with my interviews. But today is another day. And man, I have an awesome guest. This young lady she's coming up in the wrestling world. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Sam Street. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So, first question, Sam, who trained you?
So I train under Jimmy Valiant in Shawsville, Virginia, the one and only Boogie Woogie Man, uh, and it's really cool because he is, as everybody knows, just complete legend.
Oh yeah, you said the name Jimmy Valiant. I'm like, oh my god, I can't remember who else I've had on our podcast that got
Mhm.
trained by Jimmy. There's
Mhm.
other people that have been trained by Jimmy Valiant that have been on Dudes at Ringside. I can't think of the names, but yeah, there's been other people that have been trained by Jimmy, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, oh that's cool. So, if our internationally known guests are not familiar with you, and what would they not be? Introduce yourself.
So I'm Sam Street. I'm 20 years old and I'm an indie pro wrestler from the Star City in Virginia. And like I said, I train under Jimmy Valiant and I got started a little under a year ago. But I have a background in college athletics. I'm actually an NCAA champion and I am working on working my way up to a wrestling championship.
Wow. And you see, we are the internationally known home of champions. I guess I have to get a model hand and get a mock of the ring and put it on
Yeah,
the wall.
yeah,
Look at that.
definitely.
Shiny, shiny ring. So, what made you go into the wrestling business? Like, what was your, what made you do that?
Yeah, $1,000,000 question. So my dad was a fan my whole life, but I never really paid much attention to it when I was little. And then when I was about, I want to say 11 or 12 years old, I was sitting with my dad while he was watching it, and I actually saw a video package come up for Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens match. Two of my favorites to this day, and I had never really watched it before, but it was the package before the match, and it was talking about their friendship and why they were fighting and this and that, and I got it. It was like this moment of just like, I get why they're fighting. I relate to it. And in that moment, I remember just being like, I don't know what this is, but I need more of it. And I had started playing soccer around the same time and getting into sports. And so as time went on, I just got more and more into wrestling to where like I knew eventually it was something I was just gonna go and do.
Awesome. So, when you started taking this journey to being a pro wrestler,
Mhm.
what was your mindset when you first went to the curtain for the first time?
Oh goodness. So I actually my first match ever was on my 20th birthday in March. And I remember I was, like, nervous all day at the venue, but then when I stood behind the curtain and my music started playing, it was this weird calmness that came over me. I wasn't nervous anymore, and I was just really just almost at peace with everything, and I was really excited, and then when you come through the curtain and you see the crowd and you don't just see them, you can feel them because 'cause you're taking them in at the same time that they're taking you in, and so it was just this really cool moment of, like, I made the right decision in going into this.
Awesome. So, what would you consider your wrestling style be?
So I like to bring a lot of my athleticism from my history into it. I'm not like a big high flyer. I'm more just work you down, very technical, very technical. Like I said, that's kind of just my athletic background. I like to make sure that I bring technique into everything. Make sure my footwork is good and things like that. So I try to keep everything very technical. Um, I don't do anything underhanded, anything like that. I want to make sure that I earn the wins that I get. So keep it technical, keep it more or less old school wrestling.
Awesome. So have you ever thought of traveling abroad, from different state to state? And if you have, is there any thoughts of going overseas or staying out, going east and to wrestle?
Yeah, so I'm from Virginia, so I've wrestled in Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina so far. and I love it. It's definitely different styles in the different areas that you go. Even different parts of Virginia, you get different styles, different types of fans, which I love. Um, and I've definitely thought about going overseas. If that opportunity presented itself, I would absolutely be open to it. I would do just about anything for the sport. So, I would definitely be open to that.
Awesome. So out of the places you wrestled so far, sorry to mic drop on the fans. Which one's your favorite fans? Like, what was like your favorite moment from either of those matches?
So I've only had one match in North Carolina. It was my first match, and that crowd was really like it. All the crowds are different. So in North Carolina, they were very just like they were very into the technical parts of the match. They loved watching us actually like lock up with each other and really just our competition. They love that. In Virginia, I have more of an established fan base. I've gotten to know a lot of the fans for example, for Pure Pro Wrestling. They were one of the first companies that I went and worked for, and so I've gotten to know a lot of their fans, and so that feels much more personal. And they love the people in Virginia. They love the people. They want to know us. They want to know our stories, and so they get invested in our matches. And then in Tennessee, where I've been working most recently, they just love our interaction. They love interacting with us. They love our interactions with our opponents. Because when you have good chemistry with an opponent, or you have like a lot of animosity with your opponent, they love that stuff. So I don't know that I have a favorite because they're so different. Um, but it's all good. It's all good when you're interacting with fans.
Awesome. Do you this gets to the fun parts of the questions. Do you collect anything?
Do I collect anything? Um, Not really. I had a rock collection when I was little. It was really strange. I would collect rocks, and then like anytime something cool would happen, or I'd see like even when I would see a cool match that I would like, I would decorate the rock like based around like the cool event that I had or something like that. I would paint it, put little rhinestones on it, but I'm not much of a collector anymore.
Hmm. So what is your go-to food when you after a show?
Oh, after a show. So in Virginia, we have a lot of cookouts. And cookout is open so late, so that is one of my favorites. But I'm a very snacky person, so I bring a lot of snacks with me. So, I've always got some sort of fruit, or I have this weird obsession where I just love carrots so much. People pick on me for it all the time, but I like always have carrots with me. It's
Whole
really
or like
random.
the little baby
The baby
carrots?
ones, the baby ones. Yeah, I don't do the big ones. The little baby ones, I could eat a million of those things.
Ooh, here we go. Interesting question about the baby carrots. Ranch or peanut butter?
Oh, ranch. Ranch,
Okay,
100%. I like peanut butter, but ranch all the way.
I think I had that wrong. Yeah, no, yeah, people put ranch on peanut butter and carrots, but there's certain people like you only use ranch or honey mustard or like whatever with their stuff.
I'm not against honey mustard, but I'm a ranch person for sure.
Okay. Um. Okay, here we go. If you could bring back anybody from the past to either wrestle you or manage you, who would that
Mm.
be and why?
Oh my goodness. So, oh goodness, so there's a lot of good answers.
Like a
So
Forbidden Door
I
style, like and like like on Monsters Inc. They can go into another world. Like
mhm.
anybody from any of like the eras, male or female, like that kind of.
Mm. So I've always kind of an obvious answer. I've always been a China fan. Love her. She is just like the model of like strong women in wrestling. But also, I was like a massive Dusty Rhodes fan because he and I kind of have like the same. I'm by no means going to compare myself to Dusty Rhodes because nowhere close. But I like his story of just being like a common man who worked hard for things, and that's kind of what I want to. That's the message that I want to put out is like you can be a normal person and do extraordinary things. I mean that's all that I am. I don't come from. I love my city, but I don't come from anywhere special. I'm for the most part just a normal person, but I work hard to get extraordinary things, and I think that's just a cool story.
Yeah, it's that's a perfect story, Sam. So it's like me living in a small town doing this podcast now on my own, and it's now I have to branch my own wings and like try
Yep.
to fly off to the different countries. But
Yeah.
it it is what it is, and the fun part of it is everybody in my small town starting to know. So in
Yeah,
your town,
it's
starting to know. Yeah.
it's really cool when people that, like, I went to school with or a lot of my teachers know about it, and they found my information on Facebook or Instagram, and they message me and they're like, "Oh my goodness, I remember when you were in 5th grade," and some of my middle school teachers remember me when I started to watch wrestling, and now they're like, "This is so cool," and I've had teachers come and watch me wrestle. It's really cool.
So if there was a young wrestler like in the game like you are that's
Mhm.
just taking their first practices, if they're watching this interview, what kind of advice would you give them?
Oh, wow. So, the best piece of advice that I've gotten, and the one that I tell everybody, because we have a couple new girls starting at Jimmy Valiant's facility as well. The best piece of advice that I've gotten, 2 things. Number 1, introduce yourself to everybody. You never know who somebody is or what you can learn from them, because in wrestling, everybody knows something you don't, so introduce yourself to everybody. But the other thing is get to know who you are so you know how to tell your stories. Because in wrestling, what we're doing is very athletic and it is a sport in every sense of the word. But we also have an entertainment aspect, which is so special because we get to convey our stories to our fans. And so I was given the advice pretty early on of get to know who you are so that you know how to tell your story.
Awesome. So what are your thoughts on your opponent from last night, Miss Amanda Kiss?
Oh, so yeah, so Amanda Kiss and I had a match last night at the Carnival in Mountain City, Tennessee, working for Beside the Ring. And first of all, great show, amazing card, and everybody had a great time. Amanda Kiss is somebody that I have a lot of respect for. I met her for the first time at School of Morton about a month ago, maybe, and she's strong. She's more experienced than me, and I have a lot of respect for her. But I still say that her and I aren't done. You know, we're similar in the sense that we haven't been training but so long, and we've had some really good matches so far. I got one on her at School of Morton. She got one on me last night. I really think that we have more coming.
I could see you two having more of a long, like Stone Cold Rock rivalry. And it's
Oh,
funny
for sure.
you said School of Morton.
Mhm.
Another former Dudes at Ringside guest went to that training facility. Riley Rocket.
Mhm.
Yep, Riley.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah,
She's another.
I went up there last month for the first time, and I learned so much. Even just being there once, I learned so much. That's another place, just like Jimmy Valiant's facility here in Virginia, Ricky Morton School. You can feel the history when you go in there, and then you meet the people that train there, and it's such a cool experience.
Awesome. My last question is, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Hmm. Well, I never like to, I never like to make promises on things, but what I can say is I've been in this for 6 months, and this has happened all of this has progressed so quickly for me, and I'm enjoying the journey at every level that I'm at. When I first started and I was just a trainee going and watching shows, I enjoyed every second of that. Now that I'm working my way up a little bit more and I'm a trainee who's working all these shows every weekend and starting to gain a fan base and stuff like that, I'm enjoying that stage too. So, no matter where I'm at, I know I'll be enjoying it. But the other thing I can say is I'm not somebody who quits on things. Whenever I have a goal, I make it happen. When I first started playing soccer, I made the goal, not only am I going to play college soccer, but I'm going to be really good at it. And I think I did that. So I have no doubt in my mind that in 5 years' time, not only will I have been a women's champion, I'm going to say I'll have been a multi-time women's champion.
Love that. So you have a show coming up on the
Mhm.
20. Wait, when did you say June? You said in June,
June
right?
3rd. So I have a lot of shows coming up. This Saturday, I'm with Pure Pro Wrestling in Franklin County. And then on June 3rd, I'm back in Mountain City, Tennessee with Wasp Wrestling.
Oh, I heard you. You mentioned that that promotion.
Hmm.
Um, Big shout outs to them, Wasp Wrestling. I got to check out some more of their stuff. I've been watching a lot of your videos about them.
Good
Um,
stuff.
Yes. Definitely. Uh, thank you so much, Sam, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Nothing but the best of luck for you in all your upcoming matches and in your future endeavors. Everything. I sound like a just Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon. I just McMahon. You know, no.
No.
Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm Joe Panther the Third. Your turn.
I'm Sam Street.
And we will catch you in the next one. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.